Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. How are we doing, people? I hope you're all well. I think this is looking forward to this one. Well, I'm afraid to say that I may end up offending a few people. You know me, I'm not going to BS my words. I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel about the situation. First of all, before I go any further, do check out the new playlists. One is the cricket coaching I'm doing. You check that out. So I'm not just a keyboard warrior. You can see the work I'm doing. And also check out the playlist now with Pro Evolution Soccer 2021. Ollie's been sacked, and I've just taken over at the helm, so you can get to see what I would do if I were the Manchester United manager. So far, we're on episode 2, and Harry Kane has been signed. The new captain of Manchester United, and he's scoring goals for fun at the moment. So all good, coach mode. All right, so that's enough of that. You just look on the channel now, you'll see new videos on the playlist. Okay, so let's now talk about what we're really here to talk about. Tommy Fury and Jake. That was an absolute disaster. Of a production. I mean, it's fresh for me to talk with my audio issues, as you know, my legendary audio issues and internet connections. But this is BT. If I had the money BT had, my production would probably be a lot better. You know what I'm talking about here. So, all I'm saying is the audio on that was absolutely. But let me talk about the audio. They had Jake Paul poolside, and they should have checked the audio beforehand. They had Jake Paul poolside, and then you had the three Furies. Tommy, the fighter. Tyson, the apparent trainer. And John Fury. Now, so he says, hello, Ingram, you're buffering saying all that. HA. I don't think I'm buffering. I think you're trying to be funny. But anyway, trying to throw me, of course. Anyway, so here we go. Here we are with these three Furies and Jake Paul. Now, I thought the fight was between Tommy Fury and Jake Paul. That's what I thought. And I thought the aim of this fight was like Tommy Fury's coming out party. But you've got the WBC and university recognized best heavyweight in the world in the same room as Tommy Fury. So, of course, the attention will go towards Tyson Fury. And Tyson, for the most part, looked embarrassed. John Fury, who couldn't keep quiet and had to take his rage out on Jake Paul. Tommy Jake had issues with another gentleman in England that has got unresolved issues. I'm not even getting into that, right? And he's busy shouting and screaming to Jake Paul in America. What does that do for Tommy Fury? If you want to talk about a PR disaster, that was a PR disaster, right? That was a PR disaster. You got John Fury just completely shouting and screaming down the screen, right? And you're seeing real John Fury there having to go, forgetting he's on television, forgetting about professionalism, forgetting about the fact that he's actually down with that. Don't hear what Tommy Fury's got to say, right? And it was, for me, an absolute disaster. I mean, if you look at one point, Frank Warren's eyes opened up and said, oh my God, did you just say that? At one point, John Fury turned around and said, and I couldn't believe he said it. He turned around and he said to Jake Paul that either Tommy or he should bend Jake Paul's missus over a table or do something to her. I found that absolutely appalling. I don't care it's the world heavyweight champion saying that, if it's my best friend saying that, I don't care if it's my mate down the road saying that, I don't care if it was my brother saying that. That stuff is absolutely disgusting. About talking about another man's missus, right? And saying what your son should do or what you would do to her. Absolutely shocking. And there was no need for it whatsoever. If you want to make personal between one and two, between you, one man, and another, okay, fine. But when you talk about a person's girlfriend and what you're going to do to her over a table, I think the whole thing's absolutely disgusting. Good evening. Think of this: Tommy Fury is about to be more known than Anthony Joshua, as this fight does more views in the US than any AJ fights in his life. Good evening, and thank you so much for the contribution, CRB1. I really appreciate you. That's a good point you're making, a very valid point. I want to get into that in a minute. Good evening as well. If the security weren't in the room, that TV was getting it. Yeah, quite possibly. Salute, good evening to you as well, folks. Andre, brother, hope you well. I find that what John Fury there said there is sackable. It's unprofessional. It's sackable. It's distasteful. And John Fury said, I don't care. I'm John Fury. Well, that doesn't mean much in the world of television. And people have said, people have got away with a lot less sacked. Pulling that analogy, so a lot less, and got sacked. John Fury saying that, there's a line with John Fury which is fine, right? But when you go across that line, regardless if you're Fury or not, there is a world of professionalism. And when you're talking about doing something to another man's girl, you're crossing the line into, her own personal space. Because she didn't say anything. I didn't see her come on camera and say anything. So why bring her into it? I just find the whole thing very distasteful and disgusting. Fury's name is more or less a brand now. Yeah, of course, I get that. John Fury, the fighter man that doesn't fight when he does, he'll get relaxed. Well, TV gig is his only income other than living off his son. Well, that TV gig is in jeopardy, because if that goes to Ofcom, there's going to be a lot of people, there'll be a lot of women and feminists coming out and saying that's disgusting and BT allow that. Even Frank, if you go back and listen to what John Fury said, look at Frank Warren's faces up. Don't cross in boxing. That was the line that was crossed. That was the line that was crossed. He lives and don't play that man. He lives vicariously through his son. Maybe so. Maybe so. Even if he's living for his son. That what's said there was unacceptable. And when people say to me, well, John Fury's good. He's good. But when you talk boxing, he talks about his knowledge of boxing. So that's fine. I just don't like to see John Fury. John Fury should be on boxing, talking about boxing, when his family are not involved. I've said it before. I said it when he was on the show with David Hay. And we talk about, I think it was the second fight. I said, John Fury should not be on the show. And I copped it me everything. I don't care. I stand by it again. If you haven't got the ability to curb your tongue when talking about members of your family and getting involved in that way and your blood's boiling, then maybe you should not be doing any shows with your son on in the studio or talking about your son, because this is what happens. You're not fighting Jake Paul. You're not fighting Jake Paul. Handle your business with wherever you got to handle your business in the UK. You're not fighting Jake Paul. You know there's no way in hell that you're going to go to America and fight Jake Paul. So why have you got beef with Jake Paul? The beef between your son, and Jake Paul. And Jake Paul's missus has got nothing to do with you. It's not like Jake Paul's missus has said something to you and you responded back. So it was, and I don't like it. Really don't like it. Big John Fury's everywhere, yeah? And if Frank Warren's is not careful, it's going to destroy the brand of BT Sports. I'm trying to build a brand here. bad enough is young man saying it, but he's over 50 years old. Exactly. Most of these boxing fathers live vicariously through their sons. Yes, I just talked about Kenny Porter last week. But this is disgusting. And if I were Tommy Fury, and I was looking to promote myself and build my name in America, I would not be having Tyson Fury and John Fury in the same room. Why? They're both strong personalities. And Tommy Fury's not a strong personality. I don't care what he tells me. He's not a strong personality. He's not a strong personality. All right? And Tommy Fury's name is really, it's not coming off John Fury. It's coming off Tyson Fury. It's all come off what Tyson Fury's doing. And just don't like it. If Tommy Fury loses to Jake Paul, then Tyson must get these fighting genes from his mother. Ha! Interesting. Did you think Tyson automatically dismissed fighting joys when Porter's ass? Because you look at a guy, Joe Joyce, who I would tip to beat Tyson. But, hey, he's the one guy that can come straight forward against Tyson, work his body, have a great work rate, punches like a mule, can back Tyson up, put him in the ropes, and put him under pressure, and he's got a good enough jab. I really do rate Joe Joyce. I always have done. And he's got Olympic pedigree as well. I think that's a dangerous fight. Tyson knows himself. He don't want that. Agreed, Ingram. Yeah. John could talk to sense about boxing. When it comes to his sons, naturally, all logic goes out the window, but that's to be expected. Completely agree. BT is in for a shitstorm. People really get riled up about this. Yeah, they are in for a shitstorm because you're in a cancel culture. Everyone wants to cancel everybody today. That's not going to do them any favors. And I'll tell you something now, that has damaged the Fury name. It really has. But I'll tell you why, because Tyson's done all that work with the PR to build things up, and that's happening now. Let me just do this a second. Go on, tend to something. But I'll keep talking anyway. Jake did link screenshots of Tommy's missus getting in his DMs, but don't know why his dad needed to get back at him for that. Fury contradicts himself all the time, in all fairness. Yeah, he does. I can't see why they would let Jake Paul lose to Tommy Fury. There's too much money to make off Jake Paul. Can't see him losing. No, I can't see him losing. I can actually see Tommy Fury getting stopped. I just don't think Tommy Fury is that good. He didn't do good against Pretty Boy. He did terrible against Pretty Boy, and he froze against Pretty Boy. So I don't know what Tommy Fury's jumping up and down about. Oh, I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to do this and that. Because in his last performance alone, it wasn't impressive at all. It wasn't impressive. And I tell you what, I would pay to see Tyron Woodley fight Tommy Fury. I would pay to watch that. I think Tyron Woodley would give Tommy Fury the fight of his life. He'd fight better than all those guys combined that Tommy Fury's fought. If Tommy Fury was struggling against Pretty Boy, you imagine what Tyron Woodley could have done to him that night. I don't know. I tell you something. BT's going to find himself. He's going to find himself in the right shitstorm. And you think that all the work Tyson Fury's done to bring himself back up and in the public spotlight, and he's done a lot of PR work and repair work with Tyson Fury, and this has happened. Joe Fury's a grown man acting like a child. Pretty embarrassing. They keep inviting this man to these sort of events when he can't conduct himself in an appropriate manner. Agree. Totally agree with you, Stefan. If Jake Paul were to lose, would he take away would that take away much for future persons? He'll always have a queue of fighters and no fighters waiting for their shot. Of course, I believe so. I think he still goes on for Jake Paul. But as for what happened today, if John Fury doesn't lose his job of what's happened, what he said, it's not on, because there was no need for him to say that. Even if DMs were slipped into Tommy Fury, there's no way that a man should be suggesting to do something to another man's missus and what exactly to do. I just think it's awful, you know. And imagine all the young people watching that now, all the Jake Paul fans, and also all the fans Jake Paul's attracted, and Tommy Fury, his fans attracted because of Tyson Fury's recent fight with Deontay Wilder. Like, all that interest has gone there, and then now look, they're looking, their mum and dad, young person going, what's he said? What did he say there? It's not good. It's really not good. John is someone who's the hardest man in the village, but thinks that makes him the hardest man in the world. Well, I don't know. Jake Paul is an incredible businessman. He wouldn't be fighting Tommy Fury next if he thought he was any good. That's my point. If I were Tommy Fury, to swerve the fight. It's a car crash for Tommy Fury because he hasn't even built himself up the right way. He's got his brother there and he's got his father there. You remember all the time when Chris Eubank Jr. used to get shit for his father always being there all the time. Well, guess what's going on with Tommy Fury now? It's not good. It's not good at all. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. I feel sorry for Frank Warren as well. John Fury wanted to fight Wilder as well. LOL. Wow. But Jake Paul put it as it was. He said it. We have not accomplished anything in your career. I think that John Fury made it even worse. It got Fury even more mad. So, I don't know. I think it's got to stop. This whole John Fury thing, I think that has got to be the shutdown point now. Because if he's allowed to say what he said today, and he gets away with it, then you damn well know that it's going to get worse. So I just want to say that. Tommy not even looking good in fights where he's the A-side fighter against guys paid to fall over. That's my point. John went to punch a telly. That's all theatre. He wasn't going to punch the TV. He was not going to punch the TV. That was all theatre. That was all stage bit. But the bit about what he was talking about is where I think he got excited in the moment. You know, you get excited, you got a bit of TV on you, getting a bit excited, and I just think at that point there, BT Sports have got to say, you know what, we can't be having that kind of behaviour on. We really can't. Tyson looked embarrassed. He did. And even Tyson knows there's a certain line. You go over that line, there's a problem. Jake wanted Fury to release how much he made in boxing share. Fury was thinking about the tax man, so he said nothing. Yeah, smart move. Very smart move. Very smart move. But I'm boxing fans. All I can say to you is this much: that if BT Sports allows him to continue, John Fury to continue, then it would be setting a new standard. You know, because Jake Paul's brought in more fans to boxing. And I'm sure that BT would want to continue doing work with Jake Paul. So that's not good. That's not good. Not good at all. Really isn't. He'd be unscrewing off wall and throwing it back on fat and after press. Yeah, it's just not cool. You know, not cool at all. So I just want to share a few words on that. Let me know your comments in the comment section. It's a short video. And I'm going to come back a little later, do a video on Kambosos versus Lopez. And I tell you, I've got a serious rant about that one. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments as always. Check out the playlist. As I said before, I've got 2 new playlists out there now. And subscribe to the new channel I've got up there as well. So, yeah, that's it for me for now. Thank you all so much. Much love to you all. And I'll see you soon with a second video. Appreciate you all. Much love. Take care.